Hello and welcome to the Nothing Happened podcast, probably the best way to enjoy theories, discussions, and analysis around One Piece without the need to stare at a screen. My name is Starknightandilex, and we are joined by my friends Kusoland, KubeOfTheRedSea, and Tainted Marth. How are you? And were you able to get last week's homework done? Because I didn't. JK.
Yo, what?
Yeah, we do work and everything, and you just admit that you don't do anything.
What
That's
do
good
you
to know,
mean
you
you
know?
didn't? That's so rude.
My dog ate my... No, I'm playing. I don't even have a dog. But no, I did it. We were talking about it right now before you got here.
It's good to know, Andy. Now we know who's the Usopp of the crew. That's good to know. Thanks.
True.
Yeah, man. So, yeah, excited for this week's episode, honestly. We have a lot of stuff to talk about. And I'm really getting excited to talk about that homework that Marv gave us.
Man, I need to see that episode. I haven't seen it yet. But I saw the part one of the fight, and that was amazing. So yeah, I can't wait to see part two.
No, Cube was talking about this episode of the podcast.
Oh, yeah, I am hyped about the episode. I know we were, it's been a week, we're back. Yeah, I always look forward to the Nothing Happened podcast. It is the highlight of my day, the highlight of my week.
I was like, yo, anyone who's gonna listen to this is like, oh yeah, I think the sound guy made a mistake here. What episode is this dude talking about?
But yeah, speaking of the Nothing Happened podcast, what episode number is this actually? Is this the fourth one?
Third one.
It's bro, it's the third.
Bro,
It's the third.
come on.
Oh, sorry, I'm I like to think above and beyond.
Just think of this, okay?
At this rate, there will be no episode 4.
Just think about this, right? Since we record once a week, just count how many times we've met up to record. That gives you the number of episodes that we've done.
I mean, throwing logic at it, I don't know if that's going to help.
Yeah, I know. He's a One Piece
No.
character, I forgot. Logic doesn't work.
Can you explain it to me in One Piece terms?
He's basically Zoro.
So guys, let's get into the bread and butter, like Sanji would say. Or like Zoro would say, let's unsheath our swords and get into the spicy
That
stuff.
sounded dirty.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, or like Luffy would say, let's stretch our dicks,
No,
right?
he would say get out the meat.
It's not that kind of
He
episode.
was good.
Come on, guys.
More like
Yeah,
what
man. Nami would say give me the cash, you know.
Sanji would say, I'm gonna spread Nami's legs like butter.
Bro, yo. Come on.
That's what Sanji would say.
No, Sanji, first of all, Sanji would not say that. Second
we
of
got
all, Brook most likely maybe would say that, but not Sanji. And third of all, why do you put your fantasies through Sanji? Be your own man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, listen, Andy, like, you're very motivated today, it seems, but you gotta tone down a bit, bro.
I'm sorry. I'll tone it down.
No worries. So, you guys were able to, like, get a little view on the homework?
Yeah, I was looking at it, and while we were discussing it, while you took your sweet time doing who knows what, Marth, we noticed that there wasn't just one silhouette.
Andy, before that, for everyone who haven't caught the last episode, the second episode, we're talking about the silhouette of Hoime talking about a certain someone in chapter 626.
Yes, Otahime is talking about someone, I think Poseidon, and we see a silhouette behind her, and I originally thought that was a female, but yeah, we mentioned that was the homework to check that out, and to also look at in the chapter to look at the ancient creatures that were in the chapter, the Sea Kings, the Neptunians.
Yeah.
Neptunians.
Yeah, Neptunians is totally correct, Andy. No, it's of course Neptunians.
Neptunians, yes.
So yeah, I just gonna throw out there what I think was the major consensus amongst the community back then. Like, many people were like, that looks like Shank's silhouette, right? But is it just me, or does the body itself look kind of elongated?
I'm looking at it, and when you say it looks like Shanks, or people said it looks like Shanks, and I guess, yeah, it kind of does. I thought it was if Kami got legs. I thought that was a girl silhouette. Yeah, but yeah, I guess it could be a guy. It's not confirmed. We don't know if it's a guy or a girl. Like, we
True.
don't know what
I mean, the hands are pretty big
would
for
it
a
be?
girl,
Like,
but I agree. You know,
Yeah, the way Oda draws, it seems to be a guy. The way Oda draws, it seems to be a guy.
a guy wearing that could be a dress, or that could be like a pirate coat.
Also, don't forget, both Dragon and Shanks wear those big cloth, you know, when they walk around in public.
yeah, for sure.
Remember, so Shanks come at the reverie, or when it's in God Kingdom, Good Dragon, he had a long cloak, so it could be just someone wearing a big cloak, and it's a silhouette of that cloak.
It does kind of look like they have one arm, though. I don't see the other one.
It is a shadow, so it's just hidden. But I mean, based on the Fishman Island arc, it does seem like it's most likely to be Joy Boy, right? Like, if we're not beating around the bush.
Yeah, but who can guide Poseidon? Yeah, it could. Yeah, it could just be like, you know, just an early silhouette of nothing. Because the silhouettes we've seen before, like in the anime, like in East Blue, of characters like of Jinbei or the Seven Warlords, they were like nothing like what they look like, or like of Kaido. Like Kaido this silhouette of him looked nothing like what he looks like now. Big Mom also.
So yeah, I think honestly for me, with, you know, how the arc goes, like, don't forget, at the end of this arc, we learn about the name Joy Boy.
Exactly.
So I do think that it is going to connect to Joy Boy, but I do feel like there's another candidate that might also connect to it, and that's Vantadecken. Because don't forget, beginning of the arc, they kept talking about Vantadecken and his connections with Poseidon. So I do feel like this person could be connected to Joy Boy and Vantadecken and be someone else, but I think that it's in the realm of possibility of, you know, either Joy Boy or Vantadecken. I would say more Joy Boy because the way they talk about original Vantadecken, it seems to be very negative. But then again, I've always said, what if it's what they assume of Vantadecken, you know? And then the story just went, and then his descendants acted the way they thought he acted. But it could have been Vantadecken was saving Poseidon.
I was thinking, looking at that, I was interested. Like, yeah, Vantadecken actually wanted to give Shirahoshi the energy steroids so she could, you know, go become, I guess, of legal age. That's how I interpreted it. And like, well, she's kind of messed up. But what if, like, why were they left there? Like, who left them? And like, what if they technically were meant for Poseidon to, once their powers developed, to, like, you know, give it like a fast forward even more, to like for them to develop even more. I guess the older you are, the stronger you get. We don't know the lifespan of fishmen either.
Do we know if we have any more of them, of the energy steroids?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
just guys, I want to bring it back to my. I didn't finish my point. Andy just jumped in.
Yeah.
Just to remind us why I said that maybe Vantadecken could be seen as a good person. When Luffy came to save the Fishman Island, remember? Everyone assumed Luffy was coming to attack the palace. Yeah. That was their first reaction. They made this narrative in Fishman Island where when the hero comes, everyone assumes that you're going to kill everyone. So that's how I was bringing Vantadecken. So that's why Joy Boy with Vantadecken could be a good candidate. I'm sorry, Andy. Go on. It's just you cut me off and I want to finish that last point.
Oh, I was just talking about, like, yeah, I didn't notice that before while reading the manga and watching the anime of this arc. But yeah, Vantadecken wanted to get the energy steroids originally for Shirahoshi, but he couldn't get in the palace. Like, there's no way to get them, so he gave up on that plan. But what if that's what they were meant for? What if those steroids were meant for Poseidon to, like, give them a boost? What if Shirahoshi's powers are not enough? She needs to be, like, stronger, like, and those, like, energy steroids are what she needed. But I'm not sure if there are more. Like, maybe, I don't know if they even mass produced them either. I'm not sure if that was a thing either, or there was just a certain amount in the box.
I mean, it was a national treasure, right? Which means that it's probably not replicatable. I mean, if it is, then I don't know if anyone knows how to make it other than Chopper, who might be able to, like, reverse engineer it.
I think it's the opposite. I think if it's a national treasure, it's not that it's unlimited, but it was produced because most time when you talk about national treasures, right? In our world, it's culinary, food. You don't hear like, oh, in Italy, there's only selected places where you can eat pizza, but pasta and pizza is considered to be a national dish in Italy. You have Japan with their fish, and vice versa. So I think it could be this delicacy back in the day where only a select few, but it wasn't limited, Maybe the people who were allowed to eat it or get access to it was limited, maybe. But I think it wasn't something that was unique. Because then why call it a national treasure, For something that you use, an energy steroid, so.
Yeah.
Kind of feel like... But I agree with Kuso, it wasn't unlimited. It was not unlimited. There was a certain limit, I would agree.
So, I guess the question is she not old enough to be able to use her powers effectively? Like, this is a shonen comic at the end of the day, and she's like kind of like the right age, right? To be able to utilize her powers. Like, she's not too young, maybe? Or do you guys think she's...
Or what if Roger was supposed to... Was Shirahoshi born yet? When
No.
Roger went to Fishman Island?
No.
She wasn't born
She's
yet?
younger than Luffy.
No. Yeah. That's right, yeah.
So I'm so sorry, but I got a call from the state, so I had to answer the phone.
Oh, really? Wow.
Oh, damn, the government.
They finally after
Yeah.
you. Makes sense.
No, just about the tax thing with YouTube channel.
Gotcha.
Anyway, can you give me like a real quick rundown what you guys thought about the silhouette?
Oh, we're just talking about the breakfast that we had this morning.
Okay, basically, to go straight to the point, we gave two
trouble.
candidates. Obviously, the most obvious one was Joy Boy. And I brought up that, it could also be the Decan, who was mentioned, the original one, connected to Poseidon all these years ago. And even though he has a negative connotation with what happened in the past, I've always said, don't forget that in this arc, they introduced Luffy when he came to save the people. Everyone assumed that he was coming to kill everyone and take over the castle and become the new king. So I said it could also be this thing that whatever Van de Decken did all those years ago was misunderstood. And people always assumed that he was trying to take over Shiroshi. And thus, as the story goes on, his family basically acted on it, thinking that it's their right, not realizing he was doing the opposite. So that's basically what he missed.
But yeah, doesn't Van der Decken... Yeah, he thinks, I know, like, for the wrong reasons, that, Shirahoshi's not old enough to, whatever, be with him, so he wants her to take the energy steroids. But, what if that also means, her powers are not fully flourished yet? Like, they could be even better. She'll be able to do more. And yeah, he has the right idea, but not the right... It's not for the right reasons. Why he...
I mean, I think if you look at what Otohime actually said, it was that there will be someone who will come to guide Poseidon, right?
Yeah.
A mermaid who is able to speak to the Sea Kings. And so that kind of implies that maybe her powers, you're right, isn't going to be fully formed at that time. And it means that there will need to be someone who sort of guides that person in the right direction because maybe they're still too young or something.
Oh, yeah, that too. Yeah. Like what happened with Momonosuke.
Yeah, so in that sense, you probably wouldn't need the energy steroids in order to make Shirahoshi grow up because it's totally fine with that narrative and that prediction that she's still kind of young.
What if it's because of Joy Boy? That's why Shirahoshi hasn't awake. Think of it like it's, we've been talking about Devil Fruits, right? Similar to the Avatar, where there's been different stages, different people. Sabo ate the mirror, Ace ate the mirror before, now Sabo. But since both Sabo and Ace know Luffy, most likely they're both a bit active with the fruits, right? They're connected that way. What if it's that, Think of it, Pluton. Pluton, this whole thing was Pluton was going to wake up the moment Joy Boy would return to Zunisha, right? That was the idea we got of it. What if it's basically the part of Shirahoshi of the Ancient Weapons who haven't woken up yet? Like, let's say it's always a different iteration, a different reincarnation. What if when they know that it's Joy Boy, it awakens them? So Shirahoshi is still the same, but like an Avatar state, but a part of her remembers her life when she was friends with Joy Boy 800 years ago. You know what I mean? What if it's that? It's not just having the power. It's having someone who knew them at the time they had that level of power to bring them back out,
And do you think it somehow ties into awakening that you get for Devil Fruits as well? How Luffy had to kind of literally die in order to awaken? So in order to sort of reach that sort of next height, you need to go through some sort of extreme measure, like you're saying.
I think that the dying only works on Luffy because of the word liberation. You know, what's the most freest thing, you know? Like, what is the freest thing is to basically come back from death. He's a rubber man, so I feel like... Yeah, because I just don't think that Law and Kid purposely put themselves...
I mean, I'm not saying it has to be dying. What I mean is, like, do you think it is going to be some sort of extreme situation in order to awaken Shirahoshi as well?
It has to be a situation that has to mirror something that the user did all those years ago, I think.
Like it triggers a memory in some way.
Yeah, muscle memory, you know, like, you're walking a mile in his shoes, literally, you know? Yeah. It's like the whole thing about Arlong. Arlong, it's just to be clear that Arlong never went through slavery like Fisher Tiger. That's the last thing that was missing for him to be at peace with humans. But since he never lived it, maybe when he heard about it, that disgusted him, he was never humbled by it. Thus, he was able to do that to an entire island without realizing it. But Fisher Tiger would never do it because he went through it. So it could be simple as that, you know? If you don't go through something, you can't become that, you know, that thing in a way.
So, like, in my head canon, right, Joy Boy was an ancient giant. But if that silhouette there is the one that, like, helped the Sea Princess back then to, like, use the weapons and all that, does that automatically mean that this person has to be Joy Boy? Or can it be someone who just knows how to guide her?
So, I think it does have to be Joy Boy in that Vanderdecken that we know doesn't have the ability to speak to the Sea Kings. He just ain't him, right? At the end of the day. Luffy was able to listen at least to what the Sea Kings are saying. And we see in the silhouette that it looks like the person in the silhouette is actually having a conversation, almost, with the Sea Kings. So that makes me feel like it has to be someone that is on the level of Joy Boy, for example. And so...
Also, you guys were talking about, like, the ancestor of Vanderdecken, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Also, look at the silhouette of the guy. Look at the Sea King on the right. Do you see the pattern on his body, the black?
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I'm saying this sounds crazy, but this looks like a silhouette of Sanji's legs, his kicks, the way Oda draws them. It's literally that black like Sanji.
I totally see it, yeah.
The black leg with the black foot.
Well, I actually...
And they're constantly being moved, you know, and this...
Do you know? It looks like his whole kick island.
It's like a high kick going,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And don't forget, this was the arc where Sanji introduced walking through water. So it's very interesting that, you know, who's also a cook. Yeah.
Another thing, I don't want to derail from... We stay on the Peninsula, but what caught my eye, probably many people spoke about it already, but the scarves that the royal families are wearing, aren't they very similar to the clouds that are hanging around awakened fruit users?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like in Japan, in like Japanese mythology, we see deities and gods usually with those, like even like the thunder god and the wind god, and a lot of the deities that we actually see in the story of the Ryugu Kingdom as well, like the original story.
Yeah, I am aware of that.
Yeah.
But could it also be connected to that they are unknowingly still like worshipping the awakened fruit user from back then, aka Joy Boy, or someone else who was awakened who looked like that? You see, like their palace is Ryugu Palace, right?
Yeah.
So what if that fruit that Kaido has at one point was actually a guardian of the Sea Kingdom or something like that?
Or guardian of Wano.
I do think that it's more like a clothes in this case. And maybe it's floating because of the water.
Yeah,
although I guess it was still happening in...
No one doubted that it's clothing.
No, I know. And so I feel like it's like maybe more of a nod to their like godly status back in the Void Century, maybe. But like, I don't know if it necessarily holds power in itself.
Actually, there's something interesting, and you have any thought. Think of the color. they all have the color, Orihime also has it, white, just like Yamato and Luffy. Like, think about it. Everyone on the world government side...
It's not all white, though, in the anime. It's different colors.
I think the official coloring is different, too.
Is it light color
Yeah.
or dark color? That's the importance.
They're like lighter colors,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, it's silk colors.
Yeah, no, but it's light colors, right? Because don't forget, the Gorse and Rob Lucci is pitch black. It's the darkest of black.
I see what you're going with.
So whatever they're using
Okay.
is a perversion of what what I'm talking about, you know. And Luffy and Yamato, I say white, I'm talking about light colors. Obviously, I'm sure their shade of white isn't the same. Luffy must be a deeper white because of being the sun god, you know, because the sun is naturally white, regardless of what other people think it is. It's not really yellow. It's just a perception of how we see the color. So it could be a thing that back then, the Guardians were represented with the light color. And because think about it, like, you know, I talked about what if Yamato and Oda and Rikaido were actually considered to be Guardians. This would explain why both Momo and Yamato are not protecting Wano. The two Guardians together. And this could explain why Kaido never got awakened, because he's not supposed to be an oppressor, he's supposed to be a protector. You know? So, with going with what Marv is saying, it does seem that maybe that light color might be more connected to the Joy Boy / Ancient Kingdom back in the day.
Yeah, for sure.
Nice catch, Marv. Really, I didn't think of it.
Thanks. I want to ask Andy, so Andy, what are your thoughts on the Sea Kings looking totally different than the ones we see, like, nowadays? Do you think that's just coincidence and they were just the Sea Kings that were around at that time, or do you think, like, that something happened to the older Sea Kings?
Well, speaking of Sea Kings, like, I think, like, the ones from the first opening, they were in the manga before, right? Also, right?
They are around
came
all
out,
the
like,
time. That's the ones we see on Fishman Island as well.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
in her flashback, they look completely different. These are not the ones that we see all the time. You can look here. You can have a look in the chat of this call. There's one that looks like a turtle with some, I don't know, some sticks coming out of its head, and another one looks like a fat snake.
Yeah.
And overall, the heads of them look all pretty turtle-like. And the other one where we see the silhouette of Joy Boy, they look almost like dinosaurs. But if we compare them to the new ones, where they have like beaks and all that,
You think they could be like prehistoric Sea Kings, like older ones?
maybe. But like, what happened to them? Why don't we see them around anymore?
I mean, the Sea Kings are a race, right? So they could still be around, and we just might not have seen them yet. We also don't know how old they become either, I guess. Like, we don't know how old these guys are.
Now, I think they become pretty old. Like, when we hear them
Yeah, I would have
talking,
thought so too.
yeah, when we hear them talking, they are like, well, this time everything will go well.
It's almost like they were there, right?
Yeah.
Also, since we were talking about the silhouette, we had discovered earlier, well, before we started this recording, is there's another silhouette in chapter 626. And it's where they show what we're talking about right now, the Sea Kings, which we're not used to seeing. Right in between them, in the middle of them, is a silhouette of a mermaid. When Shirahoshi's talking about, I guess, Poseidon, because the panel's in Japanese. So, but yeah, she's like imagining, like, what if this is like her thinking of like what happened in the past? That's the Shirahoshi from the past, and these are Sea Kings from like 800 years ago.
What if it's just adaptation? They just adapted. Think about it, right? They're in the middle part between what Kaido looks like, what the original Sea Kings looks like, and the Kaido's the middle part of what they used to look like and what they look like now, right? He's a bit more menacing. Because this BC thinking, remember in Dressrosa, those bullfighters, those fish, what they explained about it? They were inhabited of Dressrosa, right? And when, for some reason, they were getting the green blood, it affected how they looked like. Made them evolve more. What if it's that? It's just throughout the centuries.
They evolved themselves rather than
Adapted.
through species.
Yeah, they evolved on how the world was, yeah. And with all of that, we've seen that many times with people. Hyogoro is the best example. He even explained it. When part of his will, when he lost his wife, he explained losing part of his will made him get smaller. And only briefly he was able, when he was using that same will, he would briefly be able to regain that force. So we've seen people who have changed as humans in only 20 years. So those are creatures who've been living for 800 years. So for sure there might be some changes, throughout the years. They adapt to their environment, you know.
I like that.
And if I'm not mistaken, fish naturally adapt to the temperature instantly. So it could be like an increase to that, you know. They don't just increase to change the temperature. They increase on how, you know, they might be viewed. Maybe this time they're viewed as less menacing.
I mean, that would also make sense in terms of like the ancient giants and how the Oni are meant to be like the descendants of those guys, right? And how, like, if you think about how long ancient giants live, and then if you think about how different the Oni race look like, because we're assuming that like the Oni race are like ancient giants mixed with like humans or something, right? Are we all on the same page here?
Yeah.
Is it?
I think so.
Yeah, so then it's kind of weird that if ancient giants live that long, how quickly, like, they've come to look quite human-like. Like, that would take many generations. But if they live such a long time, that doesn't feel that's feasible, if you know what I mean? Like, it would take generations for them to look more human, right? And yet, it's only been 800 years.
Yeah, the more and more, like, mixed breeding with humans led them to look smaller and smaller and smaller, like Yamato. And like...
Yeah, but my point is that it would make more sense if, like with the Sea Kings, who may have evolved over time themselves, maybe the ancient giants, as they went through the ages, they started looking more human, maybe as well.
Yeah, adapting. Yeah, well, the same thing with also what I was going to bring up before I got interrupted by Cube. But I'm
Wow.
I mean, I was talking first, so I was just switching my points.
Was what if and it completely just left my mind. What was I?
Wow.
I'll give you a grace period to try and remember.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember it right now.
All right, how about I start on something?
Yeah, you start on
and then if you remember, you can let me know. So I think it's interesting that when we see it in the flashback that Martha's talking about with when Shirahoshi was still a child, we do see some of those Sea Kings later on when they reappear when Luffy is at Fishman Island. But what's interesting is that within those groups of Sea Kings, we also see the ones that that are following Luffy's crew from the Calm Belt. So we see that like gigantic like kaiju looking one with like the black stripes, and we see that like gigantic emu looking one. We also see that frog one, and that weird like derpy looking one with like the red cheeks.
Yeah.
That's all from like Luffy's time, right? And so it's
and they combined with the ones from Shirahoshi, right?
Exactly. And so it's interesting that it's almost like it's going back to that silhouette and how like, you know, there's going to be the sovereign that kind of, you know, guides Shirahoshi or the Poseidon to the right path. It's almost like a metaphor that like, okay, well, these two figures have now met.
Yeah, what if like if you have a really strong like I remember what I was gonna say too, but I'm gonna go with something else first. Like really strong will, like Roger, like he says, I'm not really going, I'm not really dying, or I'm not dying. What if like you get reincarnated into a Sea King, but only like the really strong ones, like there's like a like it's like Valhalla, like only like warriors go there, like if you're like a hero, like you did something good, like. But what if if you have a strong will, you get reincarnated as a Sea King, and people with the voice of all things, Poseidon, could talk.
What if it's a curse?
Yeah, that's another thing, or an ability, right?
Remember, I think Kusoland and I have been talking, I think with Marv as well. And I'm not sure if Marv was, I think he must have been in the discussion. It is in his wheelhouse as well. Regardless, we were talking about how we keep saying this thing of Dressrosa, people turn into toys, right? Then you think about it, in Wano, you had those two animals, that lion and that mouse, that seemed to be very human, trying to make interaction. And then we found in Dressrosa, the people were turned into toys. People couldn't believe because of how the power worked. They couldn't believe that someone was a toy. So whenever someone would try to tell the truth to the real family members, they would be seen as having an illness, captured and taken away. And then they would come back with a new contract, you know. It kind of makes you think that in this world there are people who are cursed to look like animals. Because it's weird. Some of them, like now we see the Sea Kings with able to think like humans, right? And have to wait for Joy Boy for some reason. And are very protective of Poseidon every time, you know. Kind of makes you think that it's people who are being cursed and they have to live through their curse, you know.
What if the curse is them eating the devil fruit, and after they die, like, they're reincarnated into a Sea King, That's the curse.
I think the curse
Or their
devil
soul.
fruit is afterwards. I think that devil fruit is because they got cursed. They got so it goes with what law says. Anyone strong enough will, any enough hockey can break any devil fruit, nullify any devil fruit ability. If it's an opening door, right? If you go through the door from one direction, you could go. If you're stronger, you can push the person back inside and you enter the door. It could be simply as devil fruit comes from people who were cursed, but instead they took control of their curse. They became devil fruits instead, not becoming animals. Giving them a second chance at life. Could be, it could all be mixed to one big curse.
So you think like everyone is gonna be reincarnated into something?
If their will or dream is strong enough, they have to have like really significant.
Kyros used a statement on that fateful night. Anyone who could have done anything was taken out, either captured, killed, or turned into toys. So I think it's more like the right people were, taken care of. You don't need to do that many, but think about it, right? If you get all the major kings, at that time, who were opposing you. So that could work, I think.
But back with what I had forgot what I was going to say was, so Cube, you were saying that Kaido's devil fruit, and also what Martha was saying, that could be connected to the Sea Kings, or it could be like a Sea King devil fruit, like you're a fish. So wouldn't that make, wouldn't Poseidon / Shirahoshi be able to control Kaido?
Because he ate the fish fruit? But he's not a Sea King though.
Yeah, but we've seen Tama being able to control other devil fruit users with her power.
Yeah, but her fruit works on animals, on the beast, that's why.
Yeah, well, Kaido ate his own fruit. He's like an animal.
Sure. Yeah, but the best example I can give you of that is we see some narratives being, for sure Kaido will connect back to the Sea Kings. But it doesn't necessarily make him a Sea King. It could be like an entity that wants to become so much like Sea Kings to help Joy Boy back in the day that he manifested a fruit that's very similar to Sea Kings, But he is a fish who can... But we have seen Sea Kings cannot fly, right? But yet Kaido can do all of that. So it could be like something a bit more. So unless if we found out Kaido is an actual Sea King, we know he's a beast. Like Shiroshi, the Otama's outfit might even work on Sea Kings because they're beasts as well. Maybe.
What if he was not
likely.
meant to fly, but he's only flying because...
Wait. Just to finish my point. We have to see on the scheme of things. We need to see in the naming of it. Unless they say Kaido connects to Sea Kings or is like a relation to Sea Kings, but just because he looks like them, it's in One Piece. Don't forget, it's all about desire. Maybe the first user desired to to become a Sea King, but he's not a true Sea King.
But yeah, that's what I meant. What if Kaido desired? He's the one that started the whole trend of dragons flying, or with his with Momo too now. He wanted to fly. He wished to fly as his fish fruit, and because of his imagination, he was able to fly. You normally wouldn't be able to fly, but he made it possible with clouds, which I guess are kind of connected to the swirls, kind of.
I mean, this is about theorizing, but I feel like a lot of reaching is happening right now. I don't know, about Kaido being Sea King.
No, at least on my statement, Kaido is Sea King, very adjacent. That's what I mean by adjacent. There's some similarities. But I just don't think he's a Sea King.
I had a different theory, not about Kaido, but about the Sea Kings a while ago. That there must be a reason why this mermaid princess is able to control the Sea Kings, right? So, and since we know the ancient kingdom was very advanced and all that, my thought process was the following: that all the Sea Kings might stem from the lineage factor of a certain mermaid. They were basically created via DNA engineering or lineage factor engineering, and they are based on mermaid DNA in a way, and combined with other species, which brought forth these big creatures that they call Sea Kings now. And because they all inherit the same DNA as that one mermaid, every so and so years, if the lineage factor is working right, or whatever, how you want to describe that, one of the mermaid princesses in this lineage is able to communicate with them and tell them what to do, so to say.
That's interesting. I like that.
It takes a bit away the magic, but I mean, we have lineage factor. It's a thing in One Piece, right? So I feel like that could definitely be a possibility.
Yeah, they would all be connected to Shiro.
Yeah, I agree on the ending. I still believe there's a curse component, but I'm not going to take out the lineage factor. I think it is still connected.
Yeah, so
But I
basically...
can see it, having
yeah.
a mixture of,
Yeah.
a curse
So
plus what
basically,
you're talking
I
about.
don't know. The ancient kingdom existed for a very long time. And maybe they were experimenting around with like a mermaid princess's lineage factor, and they tried to create weapons out of it, and the Sea Kings started to exist, but it fired back because those Sea Kings were connected to the sea princess the mermaid princess in that way, and they would only listen to her, right?
I would see more the opposite. Because think about it, right? If they're those like massive, and they were the reasons, or like one of the reasons that everything went to shit, right? They do seem to be like more on the opposite side, like people who got burned. But I do think there might be something to it. Maybe the world government created other type of Sea Kings, engineered more the Sea Kings that we see now today, Maybe some of them, the Sea Kings that of before evolved to that, but what if they were able to, what you're talking about, the Ancient Kingdom had their own Sea Kings, right? The world government at that time, that small faction. And they're able to, because see, every time, they seem to be much more evolved in science, the world government. They could have been the one to advance science at that level.
Wait, are you talking about the ancient kingdom or the world government?
I'm talking about the world government, the ancient world government. I'm sorry, I mixed up both names. So the ancient kingdom, I think they had similar to those Sea Kings we saw those years ago. But it could be what you're saying is it could be that it was a world government faction that engineered those Sea Kings that took over.
To be honest, I think like most of the scientific achievements probably vanished with the ancient kingdom, in my opinion. I think the world government probably started at point zero almost after they took over.
Yeah.
And that's my opinion, at least.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not going to debate you on that because you're as much right as I am right. You know what I mean? At this point, it's so obscure. But there's one thing I'll say, and I think we're a bit of agreement. I think I know why Shiroshi keeps coming back, right? Poseidon. What if it's because of those Sea Kings? They keep waiting for Poseidon. So there'll always be a Poseidon. You know what I mean? Like they said, as long as your name isn't forgotten, you'll never die permanently, So it can most likely it's because of them that Poseidon keeps coming back, But since there are not that many of them, it's a certain ratio, maybe every 100, 200 years, because of that. But I like what you're saying. I'm not it was just a different thought, but again, your guess is as good as mine. So it's an interesting thought because it could be, because it's true the Ancient Kingdom was that advanced. So maybe they were morally corrupt also at that time. I mean, they must have been a red flag with the red, you know what I mean? Like,
possible.
I don't think the world government would want that much control, at that level, unless there was something wrong with the Ancient Kingdom, a bit like Odin, how Odin is a great character, but if you look at the beginning of his life, before he leaves his island, he's a horrible person. He has no morals, taking people's wives, beating up people who don't agree with him, wrecking towns, not caring about, consequences because he's that strong.
Yeah. I mean, right now it's open for everything. Like the ancient kingdom could have been all nice and caring, but could also been like a dictatorship or something like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, the Sea Kings could have also been like some of the first, or not the first, race of fish in the water. So, like, yeah, that's why they're called kings, Sea Kings, because they've been around for years. We don't have, like we were talking about earlier, we don't know their lifespan. What if they just can't die? Or you could eat them, yeah, I guess, but like they could just stay infinitely, like, swimming underwater, where they have really long lifespans. It's just a really old race, the Sea King race, and I guess it's slowly diminishing.
Like the ancient giants.
Do you think they were born in these waters, or do you think they could have come from outer space?
I was thinking of space. I was thinking of space. I was going to mention that earlier, but it's like, well, they're really fish-like. They would have to have adapted to the underwater.
I mean, we see the creature that kind of looks like a Sea King in the the cover story of NL, right?
Yeah.
On the moon.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's called Neptunian means that it's, has connections to like outer space as well.
There's also that sea monster. That space monster we see on Egghead. That's already in the anime also too.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like it could be from the water also. But yeah, like we're briefly, I guess, talking about it too. Yeah, but yeah, like the fishmen or everybody from fish from under the sea, like, could all be connected to the Sea Kings, and the Sea Kings were like how Marth mentioned Poseidon, the first mermaid Poseidon. they could have the DNA, the lineage DNA, but what if it was from the Sea Kings? Like it was all from, they were the first ones on the planet. They could have come from space too. Like, yeah.
Yeah, let's put a damper on the space stuff. We still need to, me, with the space stuff, I still think there's a big BS when it comes to that. Is not what you think it is. We haven't got anything since else backstory about it. It feels like there is something more. There's something.
I mean, you can't deny that space travel is part of One Piece, though. Like even in Egghead, we see all the rockets and stuff.
Yeah.
And on top of the fact that we've already gone to the moon in the cover story, so like it's not.
My question is this again. I still don't believe that was the moon. I think that's what NL thought it was. He desired to go to the moon, so he went to something that looks like the moon.
Yeah, but that's way more far-fetched than saying that like space travel is something that we should put a pin on, right?
No. I said we should watch out because it's not the big thing that people are expecting about the space stuff. Considering we haven't got anything since NL's back cover story. That's what I'm saying. Because just a reminder for everyone wondering, there's a big agenda thinking that there's going to be an entire whole arc in space.
No, I don't think that. No.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about that. I was talking about
like,
that.
if anything, it might happen in a flashback, but there's no way that Luffy and the Straw Hats are going to go there.
Yeah.
Luffy's gonna he's gonna train in like 100 times gravity, and he's gonna
Oh my god.
get stronger like Goku. It's gonna be a
I mean, it could be a Stargate kind of situation, right, where we actually go to another planet through a gate, since gates are such a big symbolism, but I don't think it's going to be through like a rocket or something.
I think it's gonna be a rocket.
You reckon?
They'll take. Yeah, I always thought they were gonna one way to escape Egghead is they get in a rocket to the moon. Like that's one way to get away from the government.
Oh, not again.
Wait, did we talk about that last week?
Yes. You ended up breaking the sunny.
I feel like it is
Or
so
leaving it
possible.
behind.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but what if like Goofy, Luffy's attack? Literally, he has Gum Rocket. What if like? He literally turned.
So that was a nice topic and all. I think we should change it now.
Just the last thing, because I want to say that to Kuso, because we're talking about, we should think of Neptune in the sky. Do you know what the nickname of the Neptune in the space? You know what's the nickname of planet Neptune? Blue Giant. It's called the Blue Giant. That's its nickname. Because how it looks like. The Blue Giant.
Like, what is it? Broggy?
Blue Ogre, Red
No, I
Ogre.
don't remember. Which one's the Blue Ogre?
Yeah. Broggy is the blue. No, he's a blue ogre. Blue ogre.
So you don't think Luffy could turn into a rocket and fly to the moon with his powers? You really don't think that's possible?
Of course, hell no.
I mean, he could probably, but
Literally has a move called Gum Rocket.
I think he can go to space with his like power as like a joke, as like an attack. But I don't think he's going to go all the way to another planet, potentially.
he probably could, to be fair. But like,
Would you say his powers are similar to like Aurelie then? Like I was seeing a GIF the other day of Aurelie, and she literally punches the planet and it cracks in half. Like that seems like something Luffy could do.
wait, who do you mean? Who?
Aurelie.
Arare? Dr. Slump.
Yeah, from Dr. Slump. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's like Aurelie. Yeah.
O'Reilly.
Like I feel like
O'Reilly.
O'Reilly.
You know,
the auto parts.
the Irish character.
Oh, never mind.
Just for your listen, I'm going to take it as serious as possible. Luffy, Rocky, I'm just saying this. What's the point of having the Sunny if he can do that now? If he can go to another planet, he can just take his crew and jump from one island to another. In that logic,
Well, you see what going to Gear 5th does to him. He's an old man.
Okay, I'm writing down that topic for next time. Space, ship, Sunny. Good. So, what I wanted to talk about since the last two episodes already is that lately every admiral or former admiral is going through some huge emotional crisis, right? So we can see that Kusan has a hard time taking down Garp, not only like strength-wise, but also because he's his former mentor. And the same happens to Kizaru, who had to kill Vegapunk and now like has to hold back tears. Like he even said it himself, like he's not hurt on the outside but on the inside. So what do you guys think? What's gonna be the big bummer for our man Akinu? Well, how do you say it again?
Akiano.
Akiano, sorry, yeah. So obviously the man is named Akainu, right? But and he always calls him Akiano. See, I can't even. So yeah, what's gonna happen to?
So are you asking if there will be like a mentor figure to Akiano?
No, it doesn't have to be a mentor, but I think he will experience some kind of loss in some form, in my opinion.
Do you think it would be his supposed daughter, Hibari?
Could be.
That's her name, right? Hibari?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the grief or whatever trauma or whatever he feels that's negative emotions is that because he notices that Kobe has a thing for her and they start a thing. And then he's like, nope, I am not letting that happen. But he's like, that father, no, you can't control me. You can't tell me how to live my life. I get to do what I want. And he's like, no, you can't, Hibari. And then like, yeah, it's like the whole generation, what is it called? The generational effect. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, the whole parent is holding the child back, like the kid back. Their conflict, generational conflict. Yeah.
Yeah, I see. Like you think it's gonna be some early 2000s teenage drama movie?
Nah, some Shakespearean stuff. There's gonna be like a whole triangle. Like yeah, as it is, Akiano hates Kobe. He wanted to kill Kobe. Kobe probably has some kind of hate for Akiano too, and then he probably doesn't even know Hibari could be her dad. And when he finds that out, oh my god! Like
you guys find it weird that like out of the three admirals, it's Akiano that's a daddy.
Can we stop with that? To be honest, I don't think that's so weird. To be fair, like because
you don't think Kusoland's got some love child?
No, Kuzan is the love child.
Look, Kuzan is a lazy bum, right? Like he's flirting.
What? Like he can't finish the job?
No, listen, he's flirting with the ladies left and right, right?
Yeah.
But that's exactly the point why he never gets one. Sanji is the same. Like he's also like, oh, you're so hot, you're so pretty, and Kusan is also like, oh, you're a hottie or whatever he said to Nami.
So you feel like he never got laid?
They hate that.
What if Kuzan's like he wasn't the like his dad is broke. What if that's the thing? His dad could be broke, and then Brook's a pervert.
What?
Kuzan's a pervert.
Do you mean because they both have afros?
And they both have ice powers.
Oh man.
True.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not a new theory, though.
Is it not?
So yeah, okay. So Andy thinks that the loss that Akainu stop that. So Andy thinks the loss that Akainu is gonna experience is that he will lose maybe his supposed daughter Hibari to the man he hates the most, which seems to be
Dragon
Kobe for some reason.
Well, isn't it Dragon though? Like
yeah, it's
that's
Dragon.
the person that he has a biggest
No.
beef with.
Listen, I was just paraphrasing.
Okay.
Isn't Kobe like potential like big threat for Akiano? Like he could be the one that could be taking the spot.
I don't think Akiano even remembers Kobe's name.
I'm pretty sure he's gonna see that face. He's like,
Kobe
you saw the face Kobe made. You saw that face Kobe made on Marineford. It was super detailed.
That's the face that Kobe made. Akiano like slept perfectly fine after that.
Okay, I'm gonna jump in. First of all, if Akainu wanted to do something as a fleet admiral, he could have made sure that Kobe was in Marine a long time ago. As simple as that. I think but I like what Marv. Andy, I'm not even gonna go to your thing because it's a lot of a lot of empathy for Akainu that we all believe he doesn't have. So for me I think. Because I still believe Akainu will be one of the final villains in the story. He won't really become an ally. He will be an ally, but he'll never be for a short period, but he'll most likely be one of the final villains on the way he's built up. And I've always felt like we're kind of seeing Akainu not preaching what he says, you know what I mean? Not acting on what he preaches. Remember what he said about absolute justice? It's a justice that is not biased, that kills anything that goes against what he considers absolute justice. And you see time and time again, he gives people second chances, like Fujitora and Greenbowl and the Reverie. Kuzan letting him go, and now what happened? Kuzan's mistake of not killing Kuzan for him is biting him in the butt every time, because he's a member of the Blackbeard Pirates. And now when he found out Kuzan took out Gar, the hero of the Marines. So I'm wondering it goes more than Hibari, but I'm wondering if Akainu, his storyline will be more, instead of like wanting to find on the good side, he basically will succumb to his full and absolute justice. There is no, there is no talking whatsoever. Like, even if his daughter comes in front of him, he will take her out. And I think we might be getting an actual... Because he doesn't preach is what he says. And if you remember what he says to Kobe, he literally says, those kind of mistakes would wipe the entire Marines, and we can't have that. Hence why he said he has to kill Kobe. I think we're getting the build-up. He did not care about Kobe, so he could take care of him. I think we're going to get soon to a story where basically it'll be absolute... It will be like Shelltown with Captain Morgan, Remember how it was all supremacy? There were statues of Captain Morgan. You couldn't insult Captain Morgan and his family. His son had all control, It was just authoritarian, type of regime. And I think we're going with that with Akainu, where, because I know Marv has this fire fury about the animals, I do think that each of the animals will help Luffy at one point, but I think Akainu will be the only one who will hate it, who will decide, no, this is not what absolute justice is, and then will turn his back, and then we'll get the fight with Akainu.
So you're saying that he becomes like Anakin that kills the youngins at some point?
Yeah. The way his absolute justice, and he doesn't preach it.
This would be perfect for Kobe to for his character, because Shanks had to save him. But what if, Hibari's gonna make a rebel against her dad if it is Akianu, and he's gonna do a killing blow to her like what he did to Kobe. But Kobe this time is gonna be able to save.
It's Sabo. I kind of put into the moment he said that the Mero will always be weaker than the Magu. That's who he's going to be defeated by, the Mero.
Well, it could be Kobe too, because he got saved, but now, at least he's going to be able to fend off Akiano, because before he couldn't. He's going to be able to pretty much pull the Shanks off and probably put him off in a stalemate. But also, what I think Akiano's role could be later in the story, sometime later, is that he's probably going to be blocking the path for the Straw Hats, because he's doing his job, and they're going to have to get past him. I guess towards the end, and they beat him, and after they beat him, he's probably just going to help them. He was just doing his job.
I don't know if Akianu's fight is with the Straw Hats. I think it's more to do with Dragon. I think, at the end of the day, right, that Akianu's epithet is Red Dog. Is Red Dog, right? And so he's the alpha dog. And the only way that you can take an alpha dog down a notch is to defeat them. That's how they learn humility. That's how they actually sort of hit rock bottom and are able to actually change as a character. And so he needs to be humiliated by Dragon, by getting defeated by him. And I think that's when we'll see his character change. For me, I feel like that's the most likely way in which we will actually see something out of him.
So you think Dragon's gonna actually do something?
Yeah, I know, crazy theory, I know, but
he's been doing a lot of stuff, and just people haven't been keeping an eye on him.
Didn't he stand up last time we saw him?
Dude, you know what, Andy? You're like one of those people who were saying, "Oh, Garp is such a fraud. He's too old." Oh, Garp and Hashinosu. Oh, I knew Garp was able to do that. I was just trying to hype him up.
Yeah, it was until Dragon.
Yeah, Andy, we see you. Andy, you know what, Andy? I'm going to copy this timestamp, and I'm going to ask for the people to give me this clip. So this in a few months when Dragon will be showing his stocks, he'll say, "Oh yeah, I always like Dragon." Nah, bro, Andy,
I believe in Dragon.
No, Andy, I got you. No, don't worry.
Because Dragon never does
Andy,
that.
we know who you are.
He just sits down and stands up.
You know what? I'll call you Andyland now, not Andilex, Andyland. Celestial Dragon Andy.
Okay. Enough of this.
Yeah.
You can slander each other afterwards. I want to say something too.
Yeah, go.
First of all, I had a fun thought. What if the Marines were based on Star Wars? Basically, the Marines are the Jedi Order, right?
Yeah.
And the big players like Akainu and so on. They are the head Jedi. One is casting out and going into exile, and the other one is becoming evil, and so on and so on. It's interesting thought. I will make a theory on this probably. That will be super wacky.
You should need to know that there's one of the biggest One Piece theories that came out 6 years ago is a guy who literally called the world government Marines Revolution Army in Vegapunk. It's based off Star Wars.
Damn it. Okay, so it's already
the best example is he even hinted that Nozuros the way Nozuru is written, he predicted that he will become this powerful swordsman because he's based off Samuel Jackson's Jedi, the Swordian one with the bald head, with the purple. Yeah, that's right. If you want, I'll find the video. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, please do.
It's in French. So if you want, I'll have to translate for you. But there might be some subtitles in it. It's very interesting. You should check it out.
Then it's no problem if it's in French. Nobody knows it anyway. But like my thought on the question I posed earlier is that maybe Kainu doesn't necessarily have to lose a person, but what if his status is taken away from him, and that's what his big loss is going to be?
Do you think that he would care about it? Because it seems like he kind of regrets taking that position.
I mean, he does mean like the office dog. He hates that, but still, like, he wants to transform the Marines, right? And if at some point, for some reason, the elders or whoever decides that he's not a fitting person for that post anymore, and they remove him from it, I think he could go bonkers.
Do you think it'll be a simple demotion, or do you think he'll be
either thing would freak him the fuck out, in my opinion?
What if it's the opposite, right? What if instead he freaks out, he decides to go on his own? Because if you think about it, he seems to get more and more annoyed by the politics aspect of it, you know?
That's what I'm saying.
Like, I like what you're saying, but I'll say, what if it's more like a last straw? So yeah, I do agree. They're trying to remove it, but it will have the opposite effect. What if it's what pushes Akainu to get his loyalist? Because Akainu is the type of person to have crazy loyalists among the Marines, you know? And maybe even the world government, who decide to create their own faction, you know? Opposing the world government. Sword does it privately. What if Akainu brings a fight? Like, he's a real man, you know, compared to Sword. He doesn't use strategy. He doesn't care going to war against the Gorosei.
Wait, so there's going to be a third faction, Sword, Shield, and something else?
Like, what's worse than absolute justice? That's self-justice. Like, someone who decides on his own what is right and wrong. Yeah. I think that's the final point for Akainu, fuck's sake.
What if Akainu, like, his actual final battle is not against Dragon, but it's going to be against Kuzan? What's his name?
Kuzan?
Akiji, yeah, Kuzan.
Akiji?
But yeah, it would kind of, again, like, going full circle. Like, Kuzan lost to Sakazuki Keanu while they were Marines, while he was a Marine. But as a pirate, he might win because he has more freedom. He has nothing holding him back now.
But why Kuzan?
Because he lost him already, and he seems really bitter about it, as like in the flashback with Blackbeard.
My problem with all of that is, you know, I can see Dragon because the way he brings up Dragon and what he represents. I can see Sabo because of Mary and Mago. I can see Kobe on this piece stuff like that. With Kuzan, it hints more to the fact that they're two friends who were forced to be pitted against each other, and they didn't have the will to actually fight to the end. That's why, like, at the end, Akainu won, but even Akainu said, you know, just go, I don't want to. And now he refuses to go after him.
But now they could be put face to face again because he's a pirate now, and Marines are supposed to go after pirates, and they might have to go up against each other as a Marine and pirate.
But he was already told. Remember what he said to him? Even he told it to the Gorosei. He resigned. He's not a Marine issue anymore. Why should I go after him? He was given a chance already by Gorkari.
But at that time, they didn't know he was going to be a pirate.
They knew. They even said it. He's a Blackbeard pirate. It was after Dressrosa. And Akainu said he resigned. Whatever he does after becoming a Marine is up to him. It's not up to us to chase after him. They said it. Workery said because he's with Blackbeard, we cannot have a former admiral with the Blackbeard pirates. And he was ordered to go after that, and he refused. He said he resigned. That's what I'm saying. Like, he has been giving chances post time skip with Kuzan. He doesn't care.
Wait, would an admiral need permission to fight anybody from an Emperor's crew? Because Lucci needed the CP0.
Yeah, but that's different. That's the higher ups asking him to go. Lucci needed to ask the Gorosei permission. The Gorosei was forcing Akainu to go after, and he refused. He said it's not their problem. I like the thought. It's just he has been giving one or two chances. He doesn't seem to be taking it, and I don't think him taking out Garp. He doesn't seem to.
But they could cross.
He doesn't seem to care that much about Garp, you know. So that's why.
Yeah, I see that Kuzan and Akainu have a better chance of crossing paths than with the Straw Hats. Like, I really I don't see Luffy meeting up with Akianu until probably end game of the story. Probably like they might not even ever meet each other.
But they have a stronger reason to take out Akainu. Kuzan doesn't.
He has beef with him. He probably hates him. He hates.
Dude. Kainu killed Ace. The Straw Hats, any of the Straw Hats who found out about Akainu and they see him in a wicked state, no, all the Straw Hats are going to take the hit. Everyone knows how Ace was for Luffy.
What if Garp dies and Kuzan has to kill him or something to show his loyalty to Blackbeard, and as that happens, Kuzan inherits Garp's will, and maybe some of that will is to avenge Ace.
Yeah, dude, listen. Did you eat the Gomu Gomu this morning? Dude, that's some level of reaching at this point.
Is it? Because I could see that being
Dude, you just said...
possible.
Imagine if, basically, after he kills Garp, a part of Garp's will becomes the Ace will that goes into Kuzan, and he decides to go after... Dude,
didn't Sabo inherit Ace's will? And Garp might have some will too. No one's inherited Garp's will. Well, Kuzan's gonna. He already would and impaled Garp with an ice.
You know what,
thing.
Man?
I could see
I
killing
Garp
to show his loyalty. Snape did it with Dumbledore, and Snape was a double agent. Yeah, it's the whole Harry Potter Dumbledore Snape thing all over again. That could so happen.
Yeah. Since we are talking about Harry Potter, I think it's time to strike down this podcast like Snape did kill Dumbledore. But we are over an hour already. And I think we reached a point where debates become a bit heated. So I think it's a good point to stop. And I already see like a good proposal question for the next episode. Kuso, do you want to say it?
No, you can say it.
Okay, so Kuso proposed for homework for next week to think about like who is the clan that the Sea Kings were talking about when they were like transporting the Ark Noah after it got damaged by Luffy. So it's a really interesting question. I've thought about this many times already, but I have not yet found a solution for it. So,
I mean, we could also extend it to like other clans as well, like Blackbeard's lineage as well. I'd be curious about that.
Yeah, sure.
And I have a build up to that since it connects with Sea Kings, because I was wondering that when I was looking at the wiki while we were talking. We should also like do a bit of research on the different class of Sea Kings at the same time. Like talk about next time to say different class. Because if you think about it, the King of the Coast we don't consider to be a Sea King. It actually in the wiki it explains that it was described to be a smaller Sea King. So they're not very clear. Like there's some stuff that seems to be Sea King-esque, so I think it could be interesting to see, while we're doing that at the same time, look at all the different Sea Kings and see if there's different classes of Sea Kings, different, grades of them.
Yeah, we can do that, but we should not like end up talking ages about the Sea Kings. Well, we will become the Sea King podcast.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, I had a great time again. Today was a bit more chaotic, feels like, but I'm pretty sure our editor can figure it out. For anyone who was here and listening or watching or whatever you guys are doing while you are listening or watching to the podcast, thank you for doing so. I hope you'll be there for the next episode too. And make sure to check out all the links in the description and share our work, and see you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye, guys.
Later.
Bye.